I am so excited for yet another epic Rebel Radio conversation with my new friend, Lauren. Lauren, welcome to the show. I'm so grateful that you're here today.
Yay, I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
I love it. So before we went live, I was sharing with you a little bit about your numerology, which you didn't have a lot of experience with. And I'm curious, what was one big like aha or takeaway that you got from that?
I loved what you said about, if I get frustrated, it's like time to go create something. Having
Mhm.
that action piece related to that is helpful, and yeah, I just really resonated with that.
Yeah, I love it. Just transferring it into creative expression. Go play.
Yeah,
I
we all need more play in our lives, right?
I agree. I agree. Spoken like a true number three. My threes and my fives out there are like, yes, let's go play. So tell us a little bit about who you are and who you're most motivated to serve in the world.
Yeah, I am an integrative energy practitioner, and I help people who are dealing with anxiety, stress, chronic pain, limiting beliefs. I specialize in what's called EFT tapping, and I utilize that along with some of the other modalities like Reiki, sound healing, meditation, yoga to help people feel at home in their bodies, come home to themselves, and feel good, because I believe that we all deserve to feel good, and sometimes we need a little help peeling back the layers to access that.
Oh, I love that so much. So, what do you desire most for yourself in your life? What are you creating for yourself?
Mm. Yeah, I think my goal as of lately, and I think it's just like a lifelong goal, is to feel like I'm in alignment with my higher self,
Mm,
and to really be sharing my passion with others, and in doing so, helping them to feel better.
yeah, I love that. I love that. Good goal. That's awesome.
Mhm.
So let's talk about unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is something that I feel every guest I've ever had has a different definition for. And I'm really curious how you define unity consciousness.
Yeah. Well, I guess back in December, I went to a conference that was held by Anita Morjani. Are you familiar with her?
No.
Okay, she's an author, and she had a near-death experience, and she had stage 4 cancer when she had this near-death experience, and when she was on the other side, she realized why she had cancer, had the choice to come back into her body, and within weeks after coming back into her body, the cancer was all gone. She
Wow.
was riddled, yeah, she was riddled in tumors, and it was all gone. And at this conference, she gave this analogy. I'm a pretty visual person, so I really liked this. She talked about how, how on a disco ball there's all those little pieces of mirror that it reflect, right?
Mhm.
And then when the disco ball turns, the light reflects onto the wall, and there's those specks all over the wall.
Mm.
And so she explained how the reflection of the light on the wall is us in our human form, and then that is all connected back to one little square, and you can have, that one little square could have multiple lives, but it's one soul. And
Mhm.
how on that ball, it's all of those little mirrors are all connected to each other, they're all part of a whole. And
Mm.
I just loved that, how we are all one. We are all one, and we are all connected. And so when I think of unity consciousness, it's like it's that we are all connected in that way, and that we're all shining this outward light, and that's impacting the world around us.
Oh my gosh, I love that analogy so much. We're
Mm.
all just one big giant disco ball.
Yeah. Right? Isn't it? I loved it so much. It seems so perfect to me, and the shining and the shimmering and all of
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is just one big giant party. I love it.
that.
That's so fun. So, what kind of rituals or habits do you have in place for yourself to keep you devoted to unity consciousness?
Mhm. Yeah, so, I consider that all of my self-care activities. So practicing yoga, I do EFT tapping regularly, meditation, journaling. I try to incorporate at least two of those every day, and it's a practice that really helps to center me and get back to that alignment with my higher self. When I'm feeling out of alignment, those are practices that I always return to.
Yeah, they bring you back to you, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that. I love how many different modalities we all have, right? It's like we've got this big giant toolbox of things that we can use, and we know, oh, I'm feeling this, I need this tool right now, and we can just go to that. It's so cool. I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's always about figuring out what tools work best for you because there are so
Mhm.
many out there and different people respond to different things.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how do you see yourself as an entrepreneur? How do you see your business evolving with your desire for unity consciousness?
Mm. Yeah, I think by working one-on-one with people, I am helping people tap into that inner peace,
Mhm.
so that they can reflect that out, and that affects more than just one person, right? It affects everyone that is in that person's world, and so by continuing to do the work that I'm doing and helping people come home to themselves, I think that's happening.
Ah, I love it so much. The more that we come back to ourselves, each and every one of us, right? And then that
Mhm.
ripples out because we're one big giant disco ball.
Exactly.
That's so fun. So, how do you see us letting go of old patterns, old ways of doing business, the old school marketing and things like that? How do you see us letting go of those old patterns and stepping into a completely new way of creating impact?
Yeah. Well, as far as, growing your business and that sort of thing, I think it's really important to tune into what feels good to you, right? Because a lot of the time we're looking at what other successful people are doing. And while that can be helpful in some respects, it's also what worked for one person isn't going to necessarily work for you because of how it makes you feel. Like, for example, if the one person you're following has a huge social media presence and they're always online, they're always, doing lives, whatever that is, but for you the thought of doing that like makes you want to curl up and vomit. Well, then that's not going to be the way that you get the word out about what it is that you do. So it's really about tuning into what feels good. Maybe
Mhm.
it's, writing articles and getting them published. Maybe it's speaking at in-person events, whatever that is for you. And I think it takes some self-reflection and also a little bit of trial and error to figure out what feels good to you.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we're so in tune with comparing ourselves to other people. And I've always said, you don't need the website and the pretty PDF and the perfect graphics. You just need to be you. People are
Mhm.
buying you, not your graphics, right? You're a
Yes.
graphic designer. But yeah, and I think it comes back again to what you were saying about self care practices. We've got all these different modalities. Pick the tools that work for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, always.
Right. Yeah, I'm always encouraging people to if you're curious about something, if something comes into your path, whether it's because of a Facebook ad or because you randomly read an article in a magazine and you're like, "Huh, that sounds interesting," right? Explore
Mhm.
that. There's a reason why that crossed your path and go look into it a little bit more. Give it a try, take a class, sign up for a webinar, whatever it may be and see how it makes you feel.
Yeah, just try it on for size and see if it
Mhm.
works. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, one of the things that we also love to talk about here at Rebel Radio is the idea of wealth. And wealth is another one that everybody's got a different definition for. And as a ruling number 3-7 of diamonds, I want to know how you define wealth.
Mm. Yeah. So, I mean, I think wealth of happiness, wealth of love, and of course, money, right? I think finding the balance, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word, but in all of those areas, because they're all a point important, and they're all possible. And it's possible to have it all, right? To have everything that you desire. Yeah.
Yeah, it is possible to have it all. I love that my cat started singing a song right when we started talking about wealth. My cat really likes wealth
I'm down with that.
as he walks by. It's so cute. So, what is one truth that you wish every entrepreneur knew?
Mm. I think just that all of the answers within. All of
Mm,
the answers are within. So often we're seeking from outside, to find the answers to these questions. But if we quiet the mind and get still and really listen, the answers are there.
yeah. Yeah, we don't need to go looking outside of ourselves. I always have said this, I used to be one of those people that just took every course, every personal development thing. I just take my money because I wanted the answers. And it wasn't until I finally recognized, oh, you can't find the answers outside of yourself. And it's only when you are inspired to take something, to take a course, when you're pulled to it versus trying to find the answers from it. And I think that's really important for all of us to understand is that it's one thing to sign up for stuff. And of course, I encourage people to invest in those things, but only when you're pulled to it, not because you think you have to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, people can really get, especially people that are, trying to grow their business. It can feel like, "Oh, once I get that certification or once take that class, then I'll feel ready." And really that's just a form of resistance that's holding you back from doing the thing. And
Yeah.
you're more than capable of doing the thing now, that's not to say, yeah, you might want to take a class and expand your knowledge in a certain area, but don't let that be the thing that's holding you back.
Oh, yes. I love that so much. Love it. So, what's something you've discovered about yourself on this journey of being an entrepreneur and self discovery? What's something you've learned about yourself that's helped you to grow?
Mm. Really feeling all the feelings, right? Like as an entrepreneur, it's a roller coaster and you can feel like on top of the world one day and then the next day be like, think that like the world's coming to an end, right? Like, no, no, I'm not good enough to do this. Who am I to think that I can do this, right? It really is a roller coaster ride. And so, reminding yourself that that's okay. It's okay to have these feelings, allowing yourself to have the feelings as opposed to avoiding the feelings. And I really like to use EFT tapping to help me, move through some of that stuff. But know that it's all good and it's part of the journey. And the low days are going to make the days that you're on the top that much better. And keeping some perspective when it comes to that.
I love that, that feeling all your feelings. And I think we're so trained to be in resistance to the quote unquote negative feelings. Like it's
Mhm.
bad to feel angry and you shouldn't feel sad. And so we've been trained by society to numb it, dumb it, drug it, alcohol it, Netflix it, feed it, whatever, just so we don't feel it. And really it's just that moment of acknowledgement of, oh, I'm experiencing a moment of frustration and I love and accept myself anyway.
Right. No, exactly. I mean, the definition of emotion is energy in motion.
Yeah.
And we need to help that energy to move. And that's why all of these modalities are so helpful.
Yeah, I love that. So for our audience, if there's anybody out there who doesn't know what EFT tapping is, can you give us a rundown of what it is?
Sure. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and it's a process that really helps you do just that. It helps you find freedom from your emotions. And it's this process of gently tapping on certain points of the body. I often compare it to acupuncture. So when
Mhm.
you go to an acupuncturist, they put needles in at certain points of the body. With this, we're applying acupressure to certain points of the body. And
Mhm.
then the added piece is that we're acknowledging how we're feeling. So we're speaking out loud and saying, I feel, even though I feel really angry right now, I love and accept myself. And so we're acknowledging how we're feeling. And in doing so, the thoughts begin to shift and the feelings begin to shift and your perspective on things begins to shift. And when your perspective shifts, you feel differently. And that's really what this work is all about.
Yeah, I love that. I used to support a entrepreneur who taught EFT tapping, and one of her taglines was always, "I never thought that I would grow up and tap on my face and talk about my feelings."
Right. I can believe that. I mean, you could have told me this 5 years ago that I'd be where I am now. I wouldn't have believed it.
Right?
So,
I love it. It's so good. It's so important, though. It's such important work for us to acknowledge what we're feeling. And it's
Mhm.
really just it feels so hard sometimes when we're not feeling great about it, but it's so important that we do it, and just
Yeah.
whatever tool you're using, whatever modality, to just acknowledge those feelings.
Because if you don't, it's gonna come back to bite you, whether that's you, acting out against, saying something to somebody that doesn't deserve it, or, if you suppress these emotions for enough time, they can come out physically
Yeah.
because there are so many emotional contributors to physical pain. And so it's healthy to feel your feelings. I mean, I know that as humans, a lot of us spend a lot of time trying to avoid it because we
Mhm.
don't like feeling angry, sad, frustrated, whatever it is. But if you invite it in, if you hold the space for it, you move through it, and it's not constantly chasing you.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Yeah, I've always said, it's not the emotion that causes the problem, it's the judgment of the emotion.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just let it be there. It's all good.
Truth.
So I want to thank you for being on the show. It's been a pleasure having a conversation with you. I could feel like I could just talk about this all day long. But as always, we end the show with one last question.
Okay.
What do you dream of for the world?
Mm. Oh man, for the world. I mean, I dream of a place where everybody, you know, everybody can be sending out love to one another, where there isn't there isn't judgment, and where we all feel at peace in our bodies.
Mm, I love that dream.
Mm.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.